Happy Thursday, love and reciprocity, or whatever day it is that you are viewing this. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to those who are new. If you don't already know, I am Trinice L. Jackson, the Ellis for Latoya. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the post notification bell so that you all will be notified when I upload new content. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, keep your like to yourself and save it for another day. You know that's going to always be a part of my intro. Not giving me a like because of who I am to you, and you guys already know all about that, and I might talk about it a little bit because I got some more followers. So I always tell people to remain true to themselves no matter who I am to them in their lives. Your best friend, your mama, your daughter, your sister, your cousin, whomever, your neighbor, your coworker. Always remain true to who you are. Do not give me a like just because it's Trinice. Say, oh, let me give her a like because she ain't getting none. It's okay. It's okay if I don't get any likes. It's always going to be about God and the people. Always, as long as I can deliver what God has given me for you all and you're able to take from it, and not only take from it, but apply it to your lives. But before applying it to your lives, make sure it matches up with the word of God. Make sure that it's conducive, not only with the word of God, but conducive to your lifestyle. Well, anything that's in the Bible should be conducive to your lifestyle. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. This is not a Bible lesson at all. And I'm not a Bible scholar, but I do know a little something. But anyway, so today I am going to be talking about becoming the best versions of ourselves, or a better version of ourselves. Because when we talk about becoming the best version, it signifies that we're at the peak. Like, that's it. This is the best I can do. And it's okay if that's the best you can do. It's okay. You know, God knows your purpose. You should know your purpose. If you don't know your purpose, at some point you will become very, very familiar with your purpose at some point in your life, no matter what, because you can't leave this earth until your purpose has been fulfilled, right? So I'm going to be very transparent. Excuse me for keep clearing my glasses. Y'all should know by now I'm just always overheating, so the glasses get fogged up and they're getting fogged up again, and I kind of don't want to start this over because I do have to work. I don't usually do my videos on during the week. I usually do it on Sundays because Sundays I have more free time. Sundays is you know, the day that I feel is nice for me to do my videos. But I was supposed to do the video on last Sunday, and I ran into some medical issues, and those things have been rectified. And I went to see my surgeon, very nice guy, and he saw me Monday morning. It wasn't infected. One of my incisions open because I was unaware that this incision was there. I have 4 incisions, and I know that after the surgery they told me that I had 4 incisions, and I think I even read my medical report and my discharge papers, I should say, and it was 4 incisions, but I couldn't find the other one. And what happened was, it's maybe too much information. When I take my shower, I wash the glue off, apparently, because I didn't know that you know, that incision was there, and you're not supposed to like actually come in contact in that way where you're like scrubbing or whatever. But anyway, that has nothing to do with this video. I would try to do my video without the glasses so they won't fog up, but I don't think that's gonna happen because I'm squinting already. But I'm gonna try to cool down. I should have cracked the window and let some fresh air in, and I feel like fanning myself, but I'm not going to do that either. But okay, whatever. So today I'm going to be talking about how to become the best version, or to become a better version of oneself, myself, you. I'm not leaving myself out of this. In fact, this video is going to have a lot to do with me personally. I never want people to ever think that I'm singling people out. I might know a person's situation, and now I'm up here on video talking about it. No, that's not who I am. I give you whatever God gives to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I may see something on social media. I may have a conversation with someone, and I may draw from that conversation or draw from that post, and I may or may not agree with it, and I'm going to talk about it. Or I may agree with it and want to add more onto it. I want to add my version to it, or not my version, God's version, because God gives me what to say and talk about. So one of the things, you know me. If you guys don't know me, you will if you continue to follow my videos. I talk a lot about dismantling the quotes. I'm always going to dismantle the quotes. I'm always going to be probably the one that goes against the grain, because we have been conditioned a certain way, and we've heard things all of our lives, even as kids. We grow up with that mentality, and we grow up with that mindset, and that has a lot to do what I'm going, not a lot. I'm going to talk about that. The healing. I talked about this on Instagram and Facebook, and I talked about how sometimes we are competing. I see one of my coworkers texting me. I'm on airplane mode, so I shouldn't be getting no text messages, but okay. I'll get back to you later, Lindsay. Anyway, what I was saying was that we've been conditioned to believe certain things since childhood. And I was talking about healing. You know, I talk a lot about healing because healing has a lot to do with who we are as individuals. And as long as we don't heal, we're going to remain the same. As long as, like, a person who's sick, if you don't take not precautions, if a doctor tells you that you're pre-diabetic, the doctor told me I was pre-diabetic. So I know that if I don't take the measures to prevent me becoming diabetic, what's going to happen? I am going to end up with diabetes, God forbid, and or end up being on insulin and different medications. But you have to acknowledge it. So let me, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So that text message kind of threw me off. But anyway, what I was saying was that I'm a person who will dismantle a quote in a quick, fast, and a hurry. So, you know, we've heard all our lives that, mostly all our lives, that knowing is half the battle. I'm here to dismantle that just a little bit. Not a whole lot. It's part of the battle, but it's not half the battle. I'm going to break it down in 4 parts. First of all, knowing is 1/4 of the battle. It's not half the battle. Knowing, and I'm going to prove it to you. Before I'm done, I'm going to show you why I feel that way or why it's true. It's true. You know, a lot of things could be my theory, but when God gives me things, you all trust me, I'm going to prove it to be true. So 1/4 of the battle is knowing. I can know all my days that I'm pre-diabetic, but if I don't acknowledge it, meaning if I'm in denial and or I'm not dealing with it, that means that I'm still at 1/4 of the battle. Half the battle is acknowledgement. I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram and my Facebook video. I talked about acknowledging. My cousin and I, she and I was having a conversation about wellness. And she and I both said, like, you know, acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge it. Some people say knowing. If knowing is half the battle. I used to say knowing is half the battle. Why? Because I was conditioned to believe that. And also because I heard it all of my days. Knowing is half the battle. I get why people say that, but I'm going to show it and prove to you that it's not half the battle. So I said knowing is 1/4 of the battle. Acknowledgement is half the battle, because when you acknowledge what needs to be worked on and improved, you halfway there. 3/4 of the battle is putting in the work. When you begin to put in the work, because at some point you had some introspection. You had to do some introspection, and that's what happened to me. And that's why I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to get very vulnerable with you all, and I'm going to be very truthful and transparent. I'm always transparent with you all, but I had to step outside of my physical self. I had to become my own therapist. I had to become my own psychologist. I had to become my own doctor and say, Trinice, you better look at your life again. You come up here and you talk about being healed and whole. I am whole. One thing I am is whole. However, well, actually, I'm going to probably prove myself wrong even in this video, because I'm about to tell you something about myself. So, I always talk about, oh, I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm ready for whomever God sends in my life because I'm healed. I did my healing. I have healed a lot. But there's an area, and I said this before in my Instagram and my Facebook video. I talked about self-reflection, and there's areas of my life that I'm super powerful. I am. I'm just saying, we all have. Remember, I told you we all have a measure of power. It's whether or not we're walking in that power, whether or not we're utilizing that power. There's areas of my life that I'm super, super powerful, you all. There's areas of my life that it's so beautiful, so divinely guided. But then I also said in that same post or video, I don't remember, I think it was a still picture video, and I said that I still have struggles, lifelong struggles, but you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be understanding. And that's why it's important to be patient with others. You know, sometimes we have grown to a certain level in our life, and we still look back at people that maybe who we've grown up with, family members, and say, well, I don't understand why they didn't get there yet. Like, come on, how old are you? You're 50 years old and you still haven't arrived yet? Come on now. You don't even know how much longer you are going to have on this earth. You got to get there at some point. But we have to be understanding. And so I had to do a self-examination on myself just a couple weeks ago. I had to step outside of who I am, Trinice, the physical realm, and dive deep, because something happened to me on a couple, well, not something happened to me, something triggered me. And this is how you know when you still need to heal. Because when something triggers you and it takes you on a downward spiral, when you begin to question things, that's when you know you're not totally healed. So something happened on a couple weeks ago. I discovered something and I said, it triggered something in me. Now I talked about this on my Facebook and Instagram video. I always give you guys a snippet of what my next video is going to be about. I don't know. I may start doing that on YouTube. Maybe I should do it for YouTube as well. I don't know yet. Maybe not. All it is an upload, so I can upload it or what have you on YouTube as well. But I talked about on was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. Well, anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. So something happened that triggered me. I discovered something. I was saying I discovered something. And it brought up these emotions in me. And I began to question someone. Like, well, this did this and that, and is it this? And the person's like, no. And I know the person to be very upstanding and transparent and no reason to hide anything. And I was like, oh, okay, I believe it. But then I began to overthink. Now, this is who I am as a person. This is why you got to be very careful. You have to be very careful. As much as I talk about me being very intuitive, and I am, and I have a spirit of discernment, I do. However, and I know a lot of believers don't believe in horoscopes and we're not supposed to look into those things, but I'm going to tell you all, I'm a Virgo. I'm a true blue Virgo. And if you know anything about Virgos tend to overanalyze. And sometimes I overanalyze. And I talked about this before, that I have some anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. So sometimes my anxiety and my overanalyzing situations can overpower my intuitiveness and my spirit of discernment. So I have to be very careful. So anyway, something came up. Sometimes God allowed, I talked about this a little before. I'm not sure if I did it on YouTube or if I did it on my Facebook or Instagram page or what have you. But I talked about how, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought because I heard the dog bark. And you see how I lose my train of thought so fast. I talked, what was I? Okay, let me just get back. It may come back to me. It may come back to my mind, my memory. But what happened was, something happened and I began to, it triggered me. And it brought up feelings of distrust. This is me being vulnerable and transparent with you all. I have an issue with trusting others and what they say to me because of what I've been through and what I went through in the past. So I talk so much. I think this is what I was going to say. I talk so much about being healed. I'm healed, God, whoever it is that you want to come into my life. But this is how good God is. And this is how great God is. God is not going to send anybody into my life if I'm not fully healed. Because I asked God, the person has to come healed. It's okay to heal together. Some aspects, it's okay to heal together. You got to be careful with the healing together thing. Because sometimes, like or bonds, I talk about bonds a lot. Sometimes people become bonded and you have a bond with somebody. Sometimes it's spiritually, divinely guided. 100%. Other times it's because of trauma that you've gone through and you're now seeing a likeness in the person. You feel like, oh, we could heal together. You got to be careful with that. And then you have these bonds because we're all adult sexual connections. When your body's used to another person's body and you're used to having things a certain way with certain people or a certain person. Hope is just a certain person and not people. I told y'all all before I've been, this is March, a couple more months, 4 years for me. Not that it's hard to abstain. I'm good because I'm not I'm not getting into that. That has nothing to do with becoming the best version of yourselves. So let me get back to, I talked about this on Instagram and Facebook, I believe, on last Sunday. I talked about a lot of the times we all have dark areas of our lives, and we have also light areas, right? And I said this, no matter how much I get up here and I talk about the goodness and greatness of God, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. I know there's a quote, certain quotes I'll stick to, and other ones I'm going to dismantle. However, I still have areas of my life that needs to be worked on and improved upon. And as you begin to improve, well, first of all, let me go back to the battle. Let's talk about this battle. I said that 1/4 of the battle is knowing, because I can know things all my days and never ever acknowledge it. Once I begin to acknowledge it, that's half the battle. Because when you begin to acknowledge things, that means you're on your way to working on it. That's 3/4 of the battle. When you begin to put in the work, to work on who you are as an individual. When you know that you reach victory, when you won the battle, that's when you know you're whole. When you're whole. So I said that I had this triggering thing, something that happened, and I had to step outside of my physical self and say, whoa, that area of your life still needs to be worked on. You're going around and telling people that I'm healed, I'm whole. I am whole. I'm whole. I'm whole, y'all. So I know I talked about the dark areas and the light areas. I think mine might be a little gray. We don't all have dark areas. Some of them, when you begin to work on them, then they become lighter and lighter and they're gray, right? So I think this part of my life is gray. And I had to sit back and I had to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't take nobody on this emotional roller coaster with you because you lack trust. Because of what you've been through is unfair. And I talked about this. Bringing baggage over into anything, whether it's friendships or not. Friendships, relationships, whatever, whether it's your parenting because of things you've been through as a child, you have to do a self-evaluation and see what areas of my life needs to be worked on so that I can begin to improve upon those things. And as I begin to improve and work and improve upon those things, I'm becoming a better version of myself. Now, when you become the best version of yourself, if you look at that word best, it signifies almost that you're at, I think I said this in the beginning, you're at the peak. This is where I'm at, God. This is where you want me to be. But I feel that as long as you keep living and you keep learning, you keep evolving and you keep growing, you become better and better and better until you leave this earth. Until you reach your fullest potential, until you have fulfilled the purpose for your life. And and I talked about the healing. So it's the mindset. It's the mindset. It's the mindset, and it's also the heart. It's also the heart. Because a lot of the times when the heart has been broken, right? The heart has been broken, it sends these signals to the mind. I can't trust that. Because I know how it made me feel in my heart. I know that I was heartbroken. So now I ain't trusting that. I ain't gonna trust nobody. I don't trust nobody. I'm not saying I don't trust anybody, but that brought up some feelings of is unhealed, some unhealed trauma. Some unhealed trauma being lied to. Because listen, and I'm not making this about anybody else. I'm not going to make this about anybody else. This is about me. It's always going to be about me because I'm the only one that could tell my story. Even if you were a part of the story, you can't tell my part of the story. You can't tell because I have my own version of what, it's all about perspective, how I view things and how I perceive things, right? And you have your own perspective because I'm not perfect. I said this before. I'm a very peaceful person. But here's the thing about not trusting people. I'm not telling you to go on things blindly. You can just trust. It takes time to build trust. But if a person hasn't given you a reason not to trust them, then why are you not trusting them, right? So what happens is you begin. I talked about in my past relationship, I looked for the red flags. The red flags came up very soon, though. I didn't look for the red flags. I'm sorry. I misspoke. I didn't look for the red flags. I ignored the red flags. I ignore the red flags. So I'm at a point in my life that I feel like, I think I'm looking for red flags. I'm not in a relationship. I'm just saying, you got to be careful, because you could ruin something that's perfectly fine, friendships and all. So you got to be careful. So I want to talk a little bit of how to become, I said this in my YouTube video. Oh, I brought this up because I want to talk a little bit how, why I have like these trust issues, because I was in a relationship, or it might have been one-sided, when a person, I would say, well, this is a neon color. This is neon green, neon yellow, whatever, neon green. And the person would say, no, it's red. And I would say, no, it's neon green. What are you talking about? It's red, Trinice. You don't see that this is red? No, this is neon green. What are you talking about? This is neon. You don't see this? And they would drive it so much, and to the point that it will make you begin to lose your mind. Or is it red? Or is it neon green? I know my eyes are telling me that it's neon green, but he's so sure of himself. He's saying it's red. So that was the point of me of telling you that, is that this is why I sometimes now go through situations where I don't believe people. I don't believe you. I don't believe a lot of people. And it's no way to live, because when you are in that energy of not being able to trust anyone, you can't grow. You kind of stay where you are in life. And if we're trying to become better versions, our best versions of ourselves, you have to work on those areas that needs improvement. And I talked about this a little bit on Instagram and Facebook, probably longer than a little bit, because I'm a talker. I talked about sometimes we are trying to compete against others. And I said this, that you can never be a better version of someone else. Why? Because that's who they are. They have their own makeup, their own traits. God purposed them with their own purpose. God purposed you with your own purpose, your own plans. I said this before in one of my videos, that God made us with a blueprint. He did, but we are the blueprint for our lives. Can't nobody else be a better you. Can't nobody else. I said, you're incomparable. You're incomparable. Can't nobody compare to you. I can't compare to you. She can't compare to you. He can't compare to you. They can't compare to you. Why? Because God made you God made you who you are. Who you are. You got to know who. That's another thing. You have to know who you are. Once you know who you are in this life, you would never want to be another person. I said this before. I'm a little repetitive, I know, because it always comes out in something. It always comes out, and every video, I might talk about some of the same things. For whatever reason, God gives it to me. It comes out in my videos. I'm going to talk about it. If it comes to mind, I'm going to talk about it, because it's never wrong. It's all about perspective. You may not perceive it the way that I'm giving it. You may not receive it the way that I'm giving it. But I talked about this before, knowing who you are. You have to know who you are. You have to know who you are, because when you don't know who you are, this is why you look at other people and feel that their lives are better than yours. But you haven't stepped into your fullest potential. You haven't even begun to walk in your fullest potential. Some of us haven't even discovered our purpose. We haven't discovered our purpose. The reason that, and I said this before, the reason we have not discovered our purpose is because we are disconnected from God. We're disconnected from God. Connect to God, because God said we are the apple of his eye. So if you are the apple of his eye, you're supposed to be living your best life for God and yourself. For God and yourself. And then when you begin to live your best life, you can help those around you. Your friends, your family, your co-workers, strangers. Being the best version of your life, you have to acknowledge what needs to be improved upon. Right? So that's my message on today. Knowing, acknowledging, and prior to acknowledging, you had to have some type of introspection. You had to do a self-examination. You had to look inside yourself and say, well, what's wrong, Trinice? What's wrong? What is it that I need to do? What are the tools that I need to utilize to become the best version of myself? The mind. Not power. Knowledge is power. Knowing, acknowledging, putting in the work, winning the battle of those dark areas of our lives. You know that victory has been won. When you reach your best version of yourselves because you put in the work. You put in the work, right? So that's my message on today, you all. Make sure that you know you have the tools in which to use and utilize to become the best version of oneself. Talked about my vulnerability. I became very vulnerable with you all, and I talked about my issues with trust, and that's the area of my life that I still have to work on. So where I thought I was ready for whoever's God's going to send in my life, I some work I need to do. I still need to do some work. That's one thing I'm going to do. I'm never going to get up here and make it seem like my life is the greatest and it's this and it's that, and when it really isn't. I've said this like maybe one of my second or third videos that, you know, there's things that people had to heal from me. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Just like there was things that were life lessons and I had to learn and heal from that. And there's things that people may have to heal from me. You know, I have a friend who always says, so mean. I'm not mean. I used to be kind of mean. I was kind of mean. Sometimes, it's about perspective. You know, some people may say mean. I'm just straightforward. And I know what I want in life. So it's very hard for me to accept I won't accept anything. I won't accept any old thing. And you can't just accept any old thing. Why? Because you're the head and not the tail. You're the head and not the tail. Right? So just don't accept any old thing, not just from others, but even for yourself. Don't just be okay with being mediocre and just making it in life. We have to get to a place where we change our mindset, heal the mindset. Healing the mindset is getting rid of things that we have been conditioned to believe all our lives is how we're supposed to live. You have to get rid. And here's the thing: this is the crazy part, that you may have been conditioned to live and believe a certain way because of your upbringing. And then whoever raised you may have changed their way of thinking, and you're still where you are. This is why you have to do introspection. This is why you have to look at your own life and not the lives of others. Not the lives of others. I said this, and I'm about to end this video. I gave an example about how even twins, identical. I have a set of identical twins, my friends, Charlotte and Charlene. They look very much alike because they're identical. They look just alike, but they're not the same. They share DNA, but they don't have the same fingerprints. Nobody has the same fingerprints, no matter how much we are alike. So why are you comparing your life to others? Why is it that you want to be like someone else? God made you with a purpose, your own purpose, own set of plans. The blueprint and the plans. There's a difference. You know, you have the architect, right? And then you have the sketcher, ones who draws out the plans, sketcher. So know that no matter what, how close we are in identity, in our ways, we're different. So nobody should want to be like other people. I said this before, it's okay when people inspire you. But you have to be who you are. You have to be who God called you to be. That's the only way you're going to reach being the best version of yourselves, is when you be your own self, your true self. I'm always going to be authentically Trinice. Always going to be authentically me. That's who I am. I've always been like that since a child. This is one of the reasons why, you know, I went through my entire childhood not knowing what my gifts were and my talents were. I never tried to mimic somebody else. I stood on the sideline, no matter what. It's not that I didn't challenge myself. I just knew that that wasn't my calling. It wasn't what I was good at. So anyway, that's it for now, you all. I hope that you can take from this video, even if it's a small portion, just a little bit, and apply it to your lives. That's my purpose. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to shine a light in those dark areas. Even I have those gray areas. Not completely dark, not completely dark. But I have some gray areas of my life. You have some gray areas of your life. Like I told you all before, that some people areas are darker than others. Those are probably the people who don't even know. They may not even know. Or they may know. I think we all know. But those are the ones who are in denial, who will not acknowledge it. Will not acknowledge it. We have to get to a place in our life when we acknowledge things that's going on in our lives that need to be worked on and worked upon and improved upon, so that we can live a better life. This is all for a better life for yourselves, for your children, for your friends, for your family, whomever that could take from you, right? That's it for now, you all. I hope that you all have a wonderful and beautiful Thursday. I got to get going. I don't know what time it is, but I have a deposition, not until 11, so I think I have some time to just kind of sit around and relax. No, I'm not going to sit around and relax. I need to do some things before work. So that is it for now. You all have a beautiful and wonderful day.